Here today in the UK, the White Cliffs of Dover here in the background. And I just wanted to share a little information, maybe a recommendation for your sales presentations. Has to do with simplicity. Our presentations are just not simple enough. More often than not, they are far too complex. We'll have too many slides, and even worse than that, we'll have complex, complicated slides with too much information. I once had a sales manager, he was a boss of mine. He had 72 slides in his standard slide deck. Way too many. And a lot of those slides were just full of information. They looked like a page in the Old Testament. Just chock full of information, small font, way too much. That is not what you want to have in a sales presentation. Your sales presentation should be simple. It should be easily remembered. And that's a key thing. Retellability is a very important aspect of your sales presentation. More often than not, the decision is not going to be made right in the room, especially in B2B sales. Usually you're giving a presentation and it's just one step of the process. There's a procurement process. Usually there's a budget cycle. Your presentation could be one out of many steps. And a lot of times, whoever is in that presentation needs to go and sell your idea to other people in the organization. Maybe they're going to the CEO and asking for more budget. Maybe they're going to go talk to the procurement team and kind of walk them through details. You need to have a simple presentation, almost like it's built for a fifth grader, so they can then turn around and go present it, remember it, and present it internally. And it's interesting, many years ago, I was involved in a lawsuit, and I was the plaintiff in this lawsuit. It was a bad business deal. This happened during the 2000s, and we had an enormous amount of evidence that we were really defrauded in this business deal, and an enormous amount of evidence that ultimately went to trial. And our side, we lost the trial. Now later on, there was an appeal and we did settle out, but we lost the trial in large part, I believe, because our pitch, our side of the story as we presented to the jury was just too complex. It was too hard to understand. We would have been better off if it had been a much more simple narrative. Even though we had all the evidence, even though we had a lot of good things that we talked about and everything made sense, we had all sorts of evidence on our side, that didn't matter. The jury wanted to hear a very simple narrative, and the other side, they had a much more simple defense, and that made all the difference. So there you have it. Keep your presentation simple. Design your presentation with a very simple narrative, key points, eliminate all of the unnecessary details. That's not what you need in an effective sales presentation. It should be simple, sweet, to the point, and retellable to others.